There's a common saying that you need money to make money. And if you're short on cash, that phrase can feel pretty discouraging. It's almost like being told you need a key to open the box that holds the key. It can feel like a loop you can't escape. But what if that idea wasn't entirely true? What if the real foundation of wealth isn't built with money at all, but with something you already have? Today, I'd like to share a simple story about a guy named Melko, who started with an empty wallet. And through his story, we'll see how it's possible to build a foundation for wealth, starting with absolutely nothing. The first step to being anything is mindset. Let's meet Melko. Melko was broke. Not just waiting for payday broke, but more like his bank account was mostly just an echo broke. For a long time, his thoughts circled around his lack of money. He would ask himself questions like, how can I possibly save a few dollars? Or, what else can I cut from my budget? And these are perfectly normal questions. But they are survival questions. They help you stay afloat, but they don't necessarily move you forward. One day, feeling a bit tired of it all, Melko tried asking a completely different question. Instead of asking what he could get, he asked, what problem can I solve for someone else? This was a simple question, but this small shift in perspective changed his entire approach. He began to see that money is often just a thank you for helping someone with a problem. So, if he wanted more of those thank you notes, he just needed to find a good problem to solve. And to do that, he first needed a skill. Step 1. Choosing a skill. When you have no money to invest, your first real asset isn't a stock or a piece of property. Your first asset is you. And your first goal is to develop a valuable skill. Let's call it your own personal superpower. This isn't about being superhuman, but about becoming very good at one thing that people find helpful. Melko looked around his town and noticed something interesting. A lot of the small businesses he liked, the local bakery, the friendly mechanic, the cozy bookstore, all had websites that looked a bit dated. As if they were a time capsule from the early days of the internet. They were confusing and might have even been turning customers away. He had found a problem. And he decided his skill, his superpower, would be making old websites look new and work better. Did he know how to do this? Not at all. But he had access to a library and the internet. And he realized that was all he really needed to start. Step 2. The learning. For the next month, Melko's evenings looked a little different. Instead of watching TV, he watched free online tutorials about web design. He read articles and practiced what he learned. His first attempts weren't exactly masterpieces. His first practice website looked a bit like a rainbow had a fight with a text document. And lost. But he didn't get discouraged. He just kept at it, learning from his mistakes. Slowly, his work got a little better, and then a little better still. Eventually, it was actually quite good. He hadn't spent any money on this education. He had simply invested his time, the one resource that was available to him. He had quietly built his skill. Step 3. The work. Now came the time to put that skill to use. A skill doesn't become valuable until it helps someone. Melko walked into a local coffee shop. The coffee was fantastic, but the website was truly a work of art for all the wrong reasons. He found the owner, a woman named Brenda who seemed a bit skeptical of everything. Feeling nervous, Melko made her a simple and honest offer. He said, "Brenda, I love your coffee, but I think your website could be working a lot harder for you. How about I build you a brand new one, completely for free? If you don't like it, you don't owe me a thing. If you do love it, you could pay me $500. Brenda, who seemed to have heard it all before, just gave a little nod and said, "All right. Just don't make a mess of it." For the next week, Melko worked diligently, fueled by quite a bit of Brenda's excellent coffee. He built her the best website he possibly could. When he showed it to her, she looked it over, then looked at him. She said, "Well, it's not terrible." Coming those words from Brenda, this was high praise. She paid him the $500. That $500 was significant. It wasn't just money, it was confirmation. He had taken an idea, built a skill for free, solved a real problem for someone, and generated income from nothing. Final step. Melko now had valuable skills and happy clients. But he soon realized he was approaching a new kind of trap. He was still trading his time directly for money. If he stopped working, the money stopped coming in. He saw two paths ahead of him. Path A: remain a solo craftsman, always busy, but always limited by the hours in his day. Path B: teach his skill to others and build a small team. He chose Path B. He found someone else who was eager to learn and taught them everything he knew about making great websites. Now, they could handle two projects at the same time. A while later, he hired another person. He was slowly shifting from being just a freelancer to being a business owner. He was building a system. So, if you happen to be in a situation like Melko was, with not much in your bank account, perhaps the best thing to do is to stop focusing on the money you don't have. Instead, you can focus on the one asset you have complete control over: yourself. The journey can begin with that one simple question: what problem can I solve? Find a problem that interests you, learn the skill to fix it, and then go out and help someone. That is a real, tangible blueprint. It's how you can earn your first thank you from the world, and it creates the foundation for everything else that follows. So guys, I'm genuinely curious. If you were to choose one skill to learn for free, what do you think it would be? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to read them. And if this story was helpful to you, consider subscribing. There's always more to learn together.